I didn't realize it, but that was my body starting to have all the hormones and stuff. I got in the shower, started getting ready, and I just started throwing up uncontrollably.
I can remember the sheer panic of feeling like my life was over and knowing I was pregnant and about to confirm it.
At this point, I had been dating him for 5 months, but in college, I was 19. So I had just finished my freshman year of college at Auburn. It is ingrained. I remember every little detail. She's like, all right, we have to wait however many minutes. It instantly already showed that I was pregnant. I just sat there and was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I'm a like, you're all in or you're not type of person. So I am not about to go raise this baby and you just like come visit us when you feel like it. You're either all in or you're all out.
I think I might have questioned it too, just to make sure you didn't feel like you were pressured, you were forced by society into a marriage that you weren't quite ready for. College was supposed to be the best years of her life, filled with friends, sorority events, and the dream of walking across that graduation stage. But at 19, Lauren's life took an unexpected turn when she discovered she was pregnant. Suddenly, she had to navigate long-distance love, academic pressures, and the intense scrutiny of those around her. Lauren's story shows just how powerful having a community to support you can be. When she became a young mother in college, it wasn't just her family who stepped up. Her sorority sisters and fraternity brothers rallied around her, helping care for her daughter and providing hands-on support that is often unheard of. Their teamwork allowed her to continue her studies and pursue her degree, proving that when a community comes together, even the toughest challenges can be overcome. If you've ever heard something on this podcast that resonated with you, consider leaving us a 5-star review. We would also love for you to consider becoming a financial donor of the podcast so that our message can be heard on college campuses across the nation. You can leave a tax-deductible donation in the link in our show notes if you too believe that no student mom should face an unplanned pregnancy alone. Without further ado, please welcome Lauren to Unplanned and Untold. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. I have heard a little bit about your story. We have so many similarities, and I am so excited to dig on in.
I'm excited to be here. I can't wait.
Yay. So tell our listeners a little bit about your family life, how you grew up, what life was like before you came to college.
Yeah, I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. Grew up with my two parents who are the best parents ever, and a younger brother who's 2 years younger than me, and had a pretty standard American girl childhood. Did all the things, was really big into competitive cheer growing up, so that was my jam. Loved that a lot, and was super involved in school and all the things. I grew up in Vestavia, so all those things. Had a great childhood, and our family is still very, very close, so that was great.
What were your dreams for college? Where did you always know where you wanted to go?
I always knew I wanted to go to Auburn. So my family is huge Auburn fans. We go to all the Auburn football games. I was going to the Auburn football games when I was in my mom's belly. So I've been going to every single one since I can remember. And we do the same now with our kids, and I love it so much. So I always say I've brainwashed them to be Auburn fans. They don't even have another choice. Like that's what we do and who we are. Like, yes. Sure, I mean, I guess you could go somewhere else, but like, this is our place.
I love it.
And I'm a 4th generation Auburn student. So my kids go, they would be 5th generation, which is pretty cool. So
they have to keep it in the family. There's just no choice.
Exactly. And I loved it so much. I knew that's where I wanted to go. I applied to one other school, and but even then I was like, I'm just doing this as a backup because I know I want to go to Auburn. Right. Everything I did in high school was, okay, what do I need to do to get into Auburn?
Wow.
So
you had a goal and you were going for it.
Yeah, that's where I always saw my future.
So what did freshman year look like for you?
Very normal freshman year. I was in a sorority, made so many great, awesome friends. I had a lot of friends from Vestavia that were also at Auburn, and they were all in all sorts of different sororities. So always, I'm a very social person, so I'm always wanting to hang out with people and be with people, and doesn't matter who it is. I love getting to just know people and their stories and whatnot. So I was hopping around between all the different friend groups and just enjoying being a freshman and studying and all the normal things.
So a pretty easy transition.
Yes. I loved it.
Until you find out you are pregnant. There's no shocker on this podcast. It's the main crux of what we talk about. Take our listeners back. How old were you and how did you find out you were pregnant in college?
So I found out I was pregnant Memorial Day weekend, that Tuesday, which is crazy that I remember that so vividly. Yeah. I remember all Memorial Day weekend feeling not right. My family has a place on Lake Martin that we've had in our family for generations. Before it was cool to go to Lake Martin. We had a tiny little cabin. And so we go up there a lot. So, of course, Memorial Day weekend, we were there. I had a few high school friends up for the weekend to just catch up and everything now that we were all back home for the summer. And I just felt off. I felt weird. I remember eating some ribs and being like, I just don't want to eat these. Like, they taste weird to me. And that's like one of my favorite things was ribs on Memorial Day weekend. And I was like, that's weird. And my now husband, that was one of the first times I met his family was that weekend.
Wow.
And they also have a place on Lake Martin. So we had gone to meet up with them. And I remember his mom had like set out some like cheese and crackers and stuff and being like, this cheese must be old. Like it tastes weird. Something's wrong. I'm not eating any more of that. And I didn't realize it, but that was my body starting to have all the hormones and stuff. And so on Tuesday, I actually was working at a daycare for a summer job. And so I woke up. I got in the shower, started getting ready, and I just started throwing up uncontrollably and, wasn't throwing anything up. So I knew I wasn't sick, and I was just like, it's just like I all of a sudden knew I was like, I have to be pregnant. And so I called work, called in sick, and called one of my best friends. Her name's Owens, and she had been one of my best friends since I don't even know, third grade.
Wow.
Forever. And she worked at a bakery at the time. And so I called her and was like, oh my gosh, this when you still had like a limited number of texts you could send out. And I'm like,
yes.
She's like on her way to work. And I'm like, Owen's like, I think I'm pregnant. Like I'm freaking out. Like, what do I do? And she was like, wait. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I don't even know why this part's upsetting me. She was like, just wait until lunch. I have to finish my morning, but on lunch break, I'll, come and meet me and pick me up and like, I'll go with you.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot to go back and revisit these memories that are so vivid. I mean, there's just so many parts of my life that I can't remember as vividly as I can remember the sheer panic of feeling like my life was over and knowing I was pregnant and about to confirm it. And it was something that I knew no matter what decision I made, my life was going to look different no matter what.
Absolutely. That's such a great way to describe it because it is. It is ingrained. I remember every little detail. Mm-hmm. I remember every feeling. Like it happened yesterday. And like, I'm like, I don't even know what I ate for dinner last night. Like I cannot remember that, but I can remember every little detail from that part of my life so vividly because it was just such a shock. But I also knew, like, I just knew it in my gut. Like I was like, I mean, we're going to confirm it. Like, but I'm like, I am 99.9% sure this is what's about to happen.
Yep.
And it takes me back.
Mm-hmm.
To all those friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so thankful that I had them there. Because I probably haven't even told her this, but like, she was exactly what I needed during that time. Like, she kept me calm. She was my rock when I knew everything was crumbling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho. Oh, okay.
I know. So sorry. I know it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's more the remembering or just being thankful for all that I did have because she is and I don't really get to talk to her much now, but like, love her so much. And she was such an integral part of my childhood growing up and part of my story. And I'm thankful I had someone like her, because not everybody has that. And so I can't imagine going through this without so many amazing people behind you, like I did. So anywho, I go to pick her up for lunch. During her lunch break, we go to CVS, the CVS in Homewood on 31. I can tell you exactly. I remember the cars in the parking lot and everything. And we go, and again, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, where do you even, go? And she's like, all right, I already Googled it, like all the things. And we go and we get a test, we pay for it. And Owens is like, all right, where's your bathroom? And we just go to the bathroom in CVS.
Right in there.
I just remember following her around like a puppy in that store. And she was just like, going, just doing stuff, and I'm just like, I'm already going, I think, into shock.
Yep.
And so I was just like starting to just like lack emotion, it was like an out of body experience kind of a thing. So we go to the restroom. I can remember every little detail about that restroom. And I go and I pee on the stick and I hand it to Owens, and like she's like walking me through what to do, and she hands it to me, and she's like, all right, we have to wait, however many minutes for the test to work. And in hindsight, she told me this years later, it instantly already showed that I was pregnant. And she was like, oh my God, it was like, she set it down and said, I just sat there and was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So I just sat there.
Trying to process all of it.
But like, again, very much I know what's about to happen. Like I just knew it in my gut. And we just sit there and she's like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine, Lauren. Regardless of what it is, it's gonna be fine. Again, she this whole time knows that it's already a yes. Yeah. And so her phone goes off with the timer and she's like, okay, so you're pregnant. And I don't remember anything after that. I remember her talking. I don't know what she said after that. I don't remember walking out of the store. I don't remember any of that. I remember her dropping her back off. And she turned around and she was like, it's going to be okay.
How old were you at this time?
I was 19.
19.
So I had just finished my freshman year of college at Auburn.
Still so incredibly young for news like that. Were you nervous to tell your parents?
I was very nervous to tell my parents. My parents are amazing. They have always been there for me, always had my back on everything, always support me through anything I want to do. But it's still, even knowing all of that, it's scary. I grew up in a strong Christian household, and had lots of conversations with my parents about, I'm going to save myself from marriage and all those kinds of things. And I told my mom everything. And so she knew I had never slept with a boy before. And when that did happen with Frank, I didn't tell her. Okay. Frank's my husband. And I was ashamed about it. And so the only person I told was Owens.
Wow.
And I was like, I told Owens and like, I think 2 of my sorority sisters. And I had told Owens, like, I wish I hadn't done that. Like, I regret it and I'm not going to do that again. Like, I always wanted to save myself for marriage. So I'm going to save myself for marriage. And even though I've already taken that step, I can at least step back and be like, all right, I'm not going to do that anymore. And I had already had that conversation with Frank of like, I don't want to be doing that anymore. Like, it's not where my faith is at. And he was okay with that. And, so I had felt like, okay, like this thing happened that I'm not proud of, but now no one knows. Like these 3, my 3 really close friends know, but like no one else has to know. Yep. And I didn't tell my mom, and I was like, I'm just going to move on like that never happened. So I think that's a big part of my story is I think what made it 10 times harder was feeling like, nope, it's still exposed. Everyone still knows what happened, even though the world's not over just because you have sex. But it felt like that as an 18-year-old. And, you know, growing up, I was very involved in my church, my youth group, and all those things. And so it would have been like this big goal of mine, you know, and then I failed at that goal. And I'm definitely much an overachiever, people pleaser type person. And so that was, as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, a gut punch.
Absolutely. How did your parents react when you did tell them?
So I remember I went home, I dropped Owens off, I came home. My mom had left something at the lake. So she drove back down to the lake to get it and bring it back. And I just went and sat on the couch in our den, and I didn't do anything. I just sat there and stared at the wall, which is not me. Like, I'm always going, I'm always moving, I'm always doing, I'm always talking. And I just sat. And I don't even know how long it was. I just sat there. And so my mom came home, and I remember her coming in and like going through the den where I was sitting into the kitchen, and she's like taking things in and out. I'm like, Mom, I need to talk to you. Mom, I need to talk to you. Mom, I need to talk to you. And she's just like going. She worked full time and, you know, did all the things for me and my brother. And, you know, she's picking up from the weekend, and she's like just talking all these things. And I finally was like, Mom, you have to sit down. And she was like, okay. And she sits down, and I just say it. I'm like, I'm pregnant. And she, I don't remember the exact chain of it, but I just remember her going through every single emotion. She was like in shock, and she was like, wait, what? What? And then she was like mad and like, Lauren, how did this even happen? Like, why did you tell me? Like, how long has this been going on? To like super caring of like, it's going to be okay. I have you. It's going to be fine. To like panicking of like, what are we going to do? We need to call your dad. Like, what? How long? Do you know how many months? Like all the things. And then she went back to like being mad, to being freaked out, to being panicked, to being sad, to being like crying. Like she was just like going through all of them. And I just sat there and I just didn't say anything. I was just like in shock, just taking it all in. And again, I definitely feeling, I remember all of it from like I'm out of my body. Yep. So I definitely think I was already in that stage. And so we tried calling my dad. My dad was vice president for marketing for a big company for a long time, so he traveled a lot. So he was like all the way on the West Coast meeting with some big clients, and my mom kept calling him over and over and over and over, and he wasn't answering because of course he's in that meeting. And so he finally calls back. Sorry.
It's okay.
And this was a big moment in my story. He answers the phone, and he's like, what's wrong? Because my mom never just calls him 100 times in a row. And he's panicked. And my mom's like, Lauren's pregnant. And he says, oh, thank God.
Oh.
And I just started fully crying. Because I've always loved my parents so much. I wanted to make them proud. And to hear him say that just, I guess, gave me safety to feel like, okay, the world isn't totally ending like they have me. And my mom was like, what? What do you mean, thank God? And he was like, I saw that you called me so many times. I thought you were going to tell me someone in our family died. And so the fact that you're telling me we are adding to our family, not taking away, is the best news you can give us. And that was, I think, also a big moment for my mom to be like, okay, like you're right. Like my safety net for my mom to be like, you're right. Like we're going to be okay. It's going to be fine. We don't know what the future holds, but like we're going to do it together. So that was a big moment. And I'm very thankful that my parents, you know, from every single moment my whole childhood, but including then, they loved me wholeheartedly regardless throughout the entire situation. So that was
so beautiful.
Such a big part for me.
That is often not the side that we hear on this podcast. A lot of times it causes a huge rift in the family, and to hear that you had their support. Any parent is going to go through the gambit of emotions from, I can't imagine, from angry to sad to happy, but just all of those mixed in. And I think most of that comes from this wasn't their plan for our lives. And as parents, we know there's going to be some hardships brought along with this, good and bad, but you want to protect your children from every bad situation. And so I can only imagine how hard that is as a parent to hear that news and adjust to being supportive and happy. What about the father of your child, your now husband? How do you tell him? Is he also in school at Auburn?
Yes. So we met at Auburn our freshman year. We met in January. Okay. He was also a freshman. We actually, fun fact, our birthdays are 3 days apart. Oh my God. So he is also 19 at the point of when we met. So we met little babies. So we met in January. And so, at this point it's May. So we've been dating less than 5 months, 4 and a few days. I actually called him in the car after I dropped off Owens, and I called him. Let me back up. I texted him when I started throwing up that morning and was like, I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant. Right. And he was like, okay, go take a test. Like, let me know what it says. And, so when I found out, I called him and I was like, okay, I'm pregnant. And, I remember driving in the car and him being like, okay. Like he was very calm and just very somber. And he was like, okay, well, I guess you need to go tell your parents and I'll go tell mine and then we'll talk tonight. And I was like, okay. And that's what we did. Like I didn't text him the rest of the day. He didn't text me. I guess both of us were just processing it. But he, from like the very beginning, like we didn't really talk about anything. It was just like the facts of like, okay, we're pregnant, we're gonna go tell our parents. And then, which again is such a like 19-year-old thing to do. Like, okay, we have this problem, we're gonna go individually tell our parents. So, but he was really supportive and great. And, I called him that night, or I don't know, one of us called each other, and, I was like, all right, my parents know they're going to support us no matter what and whatever we need. It was hard at that point. My parents had met Frank once and I had met his parents once. So, we really didn't know each other's families very much at all. 'Cause we had both been individually in Auburn. He was home in Montgomery for the summer. I was home in Birmingham. So, they had very briefly, we had met each other's parents, but our parents had never even met before. So, didn't even know anything about each other type of thing. So, we got on the phone. He was like, all right, my parents said, they'll do whatever we need. And I was like, my parents said the same. And we decided we would meet 3 days later. So that was my parents' idea. They were like, all right, let's take a few days to figure, like just everybody process, and then we'll meet together. They were supposed to come up to our house, and me and Frank didn't even talk those 3 days. Like we were just
Frank's family, both families were going to come together?
Yes.
Wow.
So we were like, we're just all going to take 2-3 days to just process this, talk as a family, just like let it soak in, brainstorm, and then we'll get together and just figure out next steps. So originally they were going to come to us. And then Frank I think it was starting to hit him. He was so stressed that he was throwing up blood. And so they took him to the hospital. They're like, he's fine. He's just stressed, give him medicine. And we were like, all right, well, we'll drive to y'all. So we drive all the way to Montgomery. I'm like, where the heck are we? I've never been to Montgomery, Alabama.
It's a lot different than Birmingham.
Very different than Birmingham. And I was like, where in the world are we? And we're like, all right, good to meet you, you know, the awkwardness of all of that. And then we went and sat down in their den, and I remember I was wearing jeans and a tie-dye pink and orange t-shirt.
Oh my gosh.
I still have that shirt, and I don't wear it, but I have it.
I love
and
that.
I have it in a little t-shirt blanket. And so we sat down and we decided we would like all 6 talk for a minute, and then me and Frank would go talk separately and then go from there. So the 6 of us talked, and we basically were like, okay, well, you know, let's, I really don't remember all the details of what we talked about, but just like, okay, so like you're pregnant, like, and all the weirdness of like, so you're keeping the baby, right? I'm like, yep, I'm absolutely keeping the baby. And all those things. And they were like, okay, well, what are the 2 of y'all are going to do? And we were like, all right, well, maybe the 2 of us should go talk individually about that. So we went to a separate room and we talked. I'm a very strong-willed person. So I was very much like, okay, like, because again, at this point, I had been dating him for 5 months, but in college. So like, we really do not know each other super, super well. And I was like, all right, I'm a like, you're all in or you're not type of person. So I am not about to go raise this baby and you just like come visit us when you feel like it. That like, that is not what I'm about to do. So like, you're either all in or you're all out. So you need to decide what you want to do, which looking back on it, I'm like pretty sure if he wanted to say, I can't do that, like I wouldn't have had that opportunity, you know, like that's not really how it works. But in my 19-year-old brain, I was like, you need to make a decision. Are you with us or are you not? And now I will say, I do think it's a little different because like a lot of guys do just say like, I'm peacing out.
Absolutely.
You know, and then they have nothing to do with that child. So, luckily that is not the type of person Frank is. And, he was like, no, I want to be there for you 100%. I want to be part of both of y'all's lives. Like, we're going to do this together. And I was like, okay, then let's do it. And then after that, he was like, let's go get a milkshake. So we went to, Sonic. And which I remember us coming out and Frank being like, we're going to go grab a milkshake real quick. And I remember the look on my face of my mom being like, okay, like doesn't feel like the right time, but sure. So we ran real quick. We got one of those, and it's, you know, Sonic's, you just pull up and the girl comes to give us her order, and Frank just blurts out, we're pregnant. And she was like, okay.
What? Did he just need to get it out of his mouth?
I guess
to
so.
somebody?
And I guess he was like, and like maybe he just like wasn't nervous anymore because we had already talked about everything, and like, you know, the pressure and build up leading into that. I don't know. But he just like blurts it out, and I remember being like, okay, what's happening? I guess we're excited. You know, like it was a weird moment, but also gave me reassurance and safety of like, okay, he is all in. He does want to be a part of this, and he is excited even though we're both terrified. And so we got our little milkshake and went back and went and sat in the den with his parents. And I remember his mom saying, okay, Frank, well, do you need this hat? And it was like a hat turned upside down. And he was like, yeah. And she hands it. It's like this ratty old hat. Hindsight, find out it's some hat that just floated up on their property at the lake. So like legit, the rattiest old hat. And she hands it to him, and he's like, yeah. And he pulls a ring out of it and gets down and proposes. I don't remember anything that he said. So he asked me to marry him. I said yes. My parents had no idea that was happening. They were in shock.
Oh boy.
And they were like upset or anything, but I think they were like,
just
okay, so we're doing this, all right. And I remember us going and looking at a calendar and like, all right, let's pick a wedding date. And there was literally like one date that worked, and was July 24th, the very end of summer, and which was like 2 months away.
Stop.
Yeah. And we were like, all right, we're getting married July 24th. And it was so fast. Like this is 3 days after I found out I'm pregnant. Now I'm engaged. And I hadn't told anybody else I was pregnant. The only person who knew was Owens and my parents. My parents had talked to like one other couple friends of theirs that had been really big in our church and were good friends of ours. So they had come over and like, you know, just to like love on us and stuff and talk about it and just help us think through everything. But besides that, no one else knew.
Wow.
So all that happens, and so I guess I found out I was pregnant on Tuesday. We went down to their house. I don't know which day it was, but like a Thursday or Friday. And then we went to the lake for the weekend because my brother, who was still in high school, was having a bunch of friends to the lake. So we went to the lake, and me and my mom just had time to like process it.
Yep. And
I remember on texting my friends, all my high school friends. And I had a really great group of high school friends. There was a bunch of guys and girls. And I was texted them like a little group chat. I was like, hey guys, can y'all come over to my house Sunday night? I have some really important news to share with y'all. And in hindsight, I did not mean to freak them out, but they were all freaking out, and like none of them were messaging me. But again, in hindsight, they were all like messaging each other, like, "Oh my God, does her dad have cancer?" Or like, maybe it's her mom, or like her brother. You know, and they're like hypothesizing all these things. And then, of course, Owens is in that friend group, so Owens was just like trying to stay quiet, and like she's like, "It's not my news to share," but like, oh gosh, I have to wait a whole day to tell everybody. So all of our friends came over on Sunday night, and I just told them all. I just said it. They all got there, and they sat down, and I was like, okay, I'm pregnant.
Wow.
They really were like, I just was surrounded by so many amazing people. Like, of course, all the girls were like, you know, because I like pull out a wedding ring and I'm like, we're getting engaged, and I like go through the whole thing, and like the girls are like screaming, but also like a panic scream, like, oh my God, I'm so excited for you, but like, wait, you're pregnant, like, or like, do we like this guy? Like, what's happening? Like, they're going through all the emotions, but in a very excited, you know, very typical for 19-year-old girls, right? We romanticize getting engaged and getting married and the fairy tale of it all, and they're like in fairy tale world. And so that was good for me to have those celebratory moments. And then all of my guy friends just sat there in shock. Like, none of them said anything. They were just like literally mouths wide open, just processing it all. And then like, okay, well, we got to meet this dude. So, and you know, we're all so supportive, and we're like, well, we're here for you. Like, you know, all the things. So, that was a really big moment for me to just share it and get it out there, but also celebrate it. Even though it wasn't the traditional way. And again, I'm very blessed that I had so many people in my corner who were going to celebrate me no matter what. Because not every girl has that.
No.
And I feel very blessed that I had that.
And still, still with all of that support, did you feel emotionally like you didn't deserve it, or that it was even hard to celebrate with them?
Yeah, for sure. It was very confusing because it was like, again, as girls, we grow up with these, which I love me some Disney, but like those Disney fairy tales of like, oh, Prince Charming and all the things. And especially at 19, you're still like romanticizing all of those things. So like, in one sense, I was so excited and I was happy. And again, like, Frank was so calm and sweet when I found out. Like, so many guys I would assume aren't like that. And from the stories I've heard, most of them aren't. So I was very lucky in the sense that he was like, okay, like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this together. Like, I do want to propose to you. I do. Like, I never said, I want you to propose to me and get married. Like, we had never even talked about marriage. He just did it. And so, in one hand, I felt reassured by all that, but on the other hand, I very much was still in shock and still just like, this is what we're doing. Like, we're just moving. We're just going, and we're just kind of in, you know, this mode of just like, all right, just next step. Not even, there wasn't time to even like really brainstorm or process or like think through anything. It was like, we're just this, okay, we're doing it. And so that was definitely, it was weird and it was confusing for sure.
Absolutely.
And so I told all my high school friends, and then I started calling all my college friends, and I just individually, I remember sitting in my room just calling them one by one by one by one. And most of my friends were so excited. I also, I already picked out who was going to be my bridesmaids at that point, which is, again, so insane. So, of course, all those girls from high school were my bridesmaids, and then calling all my sorority sisters and telling all of them. And I really only had one friend, one of my guy friends, who had been one of my really good guy friends growing up, that was like, are you sure you're going to get married? Like, you don't have to get married.
Right.
You don't have to do that. And at the time, I was kind of upset with him that he said that. I think because the safety I had, but looking back, I appreciate that I know his heart was in the right place and he was wanting to support me and make sure I made the right decision. But it was hard to hear. It was hard to hear that he was questioning it. And because again, that's part of that fear of getting pregnant, is not having all those other things. So I'm like, well, why are you mad? Then I'm like, this is my chance for it to be normal.
For it to be as secure as it can be.
Exactly. And I'm like, why are you even questioning that? So again, I don't fault him for that. And looking back, I really appreciate that he did that. But it was very confusing and hard to hear when he was originally saying it to me. I wasn't prepared for someone to be like, what? Why are you getting married? You know? Again, probably because I wasn't thinking through anything. I was just going through the motions.
Going with the flow. Absolutely. I can feel that. My now husband and I got married after 3 months of dating. Ooh. And when people questioned it, I was a bit offended, almost in a way of, don't you trust me and my, my choice and my way of processing through this. And then when you look back and you're older, you realize, well, I think I might have questioned it too, just to make sure you didn't feel like you were pressured, you were forced by society into a marriage that you weren't quite ready for. But in the moment, I agree. It sounds almost as if they're questioning your thought process and your ability to have a secure future that's right in front of you. So what does this look like going to college? I mean, eventually, walking campus halls and corridors with a pregnant belly, how did that make you feel? You're 19 years old. I mean, you hardly know who you are as a person. And now you have an outward stigma attached that you can't really hide. So what was that like?
Well, going back to that very first day of finding out I was pregnant, one of the things my mom said was, basically we were talking about if I was going back to Auburn or not. It was like we were talking about it, but like neither of us were really questioning it, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like we were already on the same page of like, because I knew I was like, and I made the comment of, I worked so hard to get into Auburn. Mm-hmm. I'm not about to give that up. Mm-hmm. Like, why should I have to give that up? Mm-hmm. Why should I have to stay here and go to a different school just because I'm pregnant? Like, I have worked my butt off to get in Auburn. I did great my freshman year. Come hell or high water, I'm going back and I'm going to finish what I started. And again, my mom was like, yeah, we're doing it. There's no reason you can't do that. So we're going to figure out how you're going to do it. Don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it. So we, that was before we even, that very first day. So it was never a discussion of if, really. It was just, I'm going, of course, going back. Why would I not? So I did. And that was extremely difficult. I think that was the most traumatic part. Mm-hmm. Because, especially as the girl, like it was easy for Frank. He had so many people be like, I didn't even know you were married, or that that your girlfriend was pregnant, or that, like they just didn't know. He didn't have to carry around the shame. It was like wearing a scarlet letter.
Yep.
And I was taking 18 hours of my fall of my sophomore year because I wanted to get as much ahead as possible before Ava Hayes came. So she was due January, like that first week of January. She actually came early in November. But my goal was, okay, well then I'm going to get a whole semester of classes done so I can be ahead of the schedule. And it was extremely difficult walking. I just remember everybody staring. Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't try to stare, but like you could just feel the eyes on you. Mm-hmm. And I remember very vividly the day that that was back in the day where you wore a really big baggy t-shirt and Nike shorts.
Yes.
And
I
I
looked
remember,
like you weren't even wearing shorts at the time. The shirts were like double XLs.
Yes. And like clothes were not made for you to like wear regular clothes as a pregnant woman. Like you had to buy special pregnancy clothes.
And you could hardly find those. They didn't have them at Walmart and Target like they do now.
Yes. There was like one store in Birmingham that had them. And I was like, these are like, I guess, cute enough. Like it wasn't that cute. Yeah. And I remember vividly putting on shorts to go to class and like could not get them over my hips. And like being like, these literally fit last week. Mm-hmm. And now like I was wearing Nike shorts yesterday and like I all of a sudden can't wear Nike shorts. And it was still hot. Like I don't remember what month it was, maybe like September, October-ish. But it was still hot to be walking back and forth between campus. Yeah. And I remember having to then go put on pregnancy jeans and being like, I am the only one wearing jeans. Like if it wasn't enough down the belly, now I'm the only one wearing jeans, which I know sounds so silly, but it just made it more like just like I had flashing lights on me or something.
Real,
it's like,
and you're different. You're not able to hide it. This is something that has changed you and is going to change you forever. And so you are different than your peers. And to know that is an area that you're almost forced into in a way, it is disheartening and scary.
Yeah, it is. And I remember like, I just can't express it very well, but I just remember that feeling of that scarlet letter feeling.
Yes.
And again, I had the most amazing friends in Auburn that like, I always had people walking with me. They were always like, hey, should we carry your book bag for you? I'm like, no, I'm fine. But like they were all like, what you need? Like every week they're like, are you sure like you're getting bigger? We can carry your book bag for you. I'm like, I got it. My guy friends, my girlfriends, all of them. And so, I was glad that I wasn't alone.
Yeah. That's
walking back and forth because that would have been really hard. Mm-hmm. And I'm very thankful I wasn't. I remember going to one class. It was in the business building, so it was like one of the really big business classrooms, and it had like auditorium seating, and so like the little desk that like slides up and over.
Yes.
And I remember that last week of class before Thanksgiving break, because like I was huge. Like I barely got that desk over me. And like I had like a bunch of my girlfriends on this side. I just happened to be in the middle. A bunch of the guy friends were on this side. Yeah. And so one of my guy friends right here turns to me and was like, well, where are we going to all sit when we come back from break? Because I'm pretty sure you're not going to fit in these chairs. And I was like, I guess I'm going to have to like go sit on the stairs or something, like, because there's nowhere else to sit.
Right.
And he was like, well, then we'll just all go sit on the stairs with you.
Oh my goodness.
So that was a big deal for me to like.
Huge.
And I probably just laughed it off. He probably doesn't even remember that comment. I never talked to him about it, but like, and it's ingrained in my brain because he said it, and everybody else was like, yep, stairs, wall plan on it. Cute. Monday after Thanksgiving break. And they just were kidding around. Mm-hmm. They were serious, but kidding. And like, they probably don't even remember that conversation. I remember that conversation. Absolutely. And I remember being like, okay, I want to sit by myself.
Mm-hmm. And a part of you doesn't want your friend group in a weird way to feel like they have to carry the burden and the stigma that has come with your decision. It's very weird. You want the camaraderie, you want to keep your friends, but you want to protect your friends from feeling the same judgment that you felt. I remember it vividly when I was going to church, starting to show, and I used to sit in the front row with some of these women that I wasn't super good friends with, but they'd become friends of mine. And I remember having to tell them, listen, like, I'm going to sit in the back now, and you don't have to sit with me because I don't want you to feel like you're those friends with that girl. And I didn't want them to carry the burden in the same way. And to my shock, they were like, oh no, you're staying in the front row. We're staying where we are. People can get over it. And you just need to hear that. You need to hear it from people that you don't have to punish yourself, and you're not punishing others for walking through this journey with you.
Exactly. It made such a big difference to me that they were like, yeah, we're with you. And like, I couldn't have done it without them. And it was I'm very stubborn. So I was like, I wasn't going to show to anybody, except my closest friends, that it hurt me. But it hurt. That everyone stared at me. It hurt. That I was treated like I wouldn't say not good enough, but like, you're considered different now. Yeah. Like, oh, you're the pregnant girl.
Yeah. Unplanned and Untold drops new episodes every other Wednesday. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star review if you love this episode. I'm Caitlin Willing, and this is Unplanned and Untold.